Greetings, pigeons. I am Gentleman Veigar. Perhaps we have met before, perhaps we have not. But that does not matter. For I assist acquaintances and strangers alike without prejudice. As long as you respect the ways of the gentleman, you are a friend to Gentleman Veigar. And that's why I'm here for you today, to give you guys a quick beginner tutorial on how to play Veigar, the most gentlemanly character in all of League. The purpose of this video series is to introduce the key Veigar concepts and strategies to low and mid-elo players who's looking to blow people up and increase the elo exponentially, much like how my man President James Buchanan increased the pride and glory of the nation as a result of his election. This will not be an in-depth explanation, but rather a brief introduction to only the most important ideas to remember when playing the sexy stud, in order to build a solid and gallant foundation for your future elo conquests. Once this is over, I'll bet my honor as a gentleman that you'll be able to hop right on in and do some serious damage to those dastardly foes of yours, and ruin their villainous dreams and careers with a single giga-stacked arc. That? Good. Now let's get right into it. In order to discover Veigar's unmatched power and swag, we must first realize what it is that makes him different from all other champions. After all, what makes you powerful are the things only you can do, and learning how to best utilize your unique skill set and potential to reach great success both on and off the rift. So, what makes Veigar unique? Well, besides his unassailable aura of chivalry and masculinity, his kit contains a crucial mechanic which he, and only he, possesses out of all champions. That being his passive, phenomenal evil power. As you may or may not know, this passive is batshit insane. It functions in such a way that whenever you hit an enemy champion with any of your abilities, you permanently gain 1 AP. And if you manage to gain a kill or an assist, you gain 5 additional AP on top of all the AP you've already earned by hitting them with your abilities. And as the cherry on top, you also gain permanent AP when you kill anything with your Q. Your Q, Baleful Strike, is an ability which we'll take a closer look at later, but for now, just know it's yet another bountiful source of permanent AP. Now I'm not a mathematician, I barely know what multiplication is, but I can say from experience that if you harness your passive and your Q properly, all of those AP gains will equate to a downright silly amount of damage, which will only increase as the game goes on. To put it into perspective, a needlessly large roar gives you 60 AP for the price of 1250 gold. Veigar can easily gain over 200 AP in most games from his passive and Q alone. AP which is not only free of charge, but is gained in conjunction with earning money, through killing minions with Q or killing champions. Take all that AP combined with the AP you acquire through the items you buy, and you've got yourself a vortex of death and destruction ready to annihilate the enemy team. Critical Veigar fact number 1, if you don't fall behind early and you build for damage, Veigar has the strongest burst damage in the game past minute 30, and arguably even sooner than that, should certain conditions be met. Do not underestimate or forget this fact. We'll return to it later. So now that we have identified Veigar's unique power which he and only he possesses, how do you think we should approach the game with this newfound knowledge? That's absolutely bloody correct, my dear pigeon. We should use this concept of free, infinite AP as the core basis for our game plan going forward. All of our decisions and strategies from this point on will revolve around this S-tier resource other champions could only dream of having. Oh, by the way, the S in S-tier stands for scrumptious. As such, the win condition we'll primarily strive for is to gain so much AP we'll become the ultimate gentlemanly murder machine, and seek to carry from mid-game onwards. In order to learn how to facilitate this, we'll now take a brief look at each of Veigar's active abilities, and how they fit into this important mission. Like I mentioned before, Veigar's Q, Baleful Strike, is key to this. By virtue of its ability to farm AP by killing minions and monsters, it is a vital component to our game plan. Due to its low mana cost and relatively low cooldown, I encourage you to use this frequently in lane, for both farming and poking purposes, although don't go too crazy with the poking. I'll tell you why in part 2. Anyway, You are to max out this ability as soon as you can, for farming and damage purposes. As this will be your most used ability throughout the game, you should give it the respect it deserves, no matter how unassuming it may seem at first glance. Moving on to Veigar's W, Dark Matter. This is one of the most unbalanced abilities in the game, in the sense it's a tale of two extremes. W spawns a falling chunk of magic which deals tremendous damage within a mid-sized AoE circle. By virtue of its insane AP scaling, a splendid 100%, very rare in League of Legends, it is a vital tool when it comes to both wave clearing and fighting. However, although its damage is the stuff wet dreams or equally wet nightmares are made of, its power is compensated by the fact it's one of the slowest, most predictable attacks in the game, and is as such very easy for enemies to avoid without a proper setup. But that's where his next ability comes in, his E, Event Horizon. I'm going to say it right now. In my opinion, Veigar's E is the strongest non-ultimate ability in the whole game. Its sheer earth-shattering utility is the sole reason Veigar's support has been seen as viable at various points over the years, which is incredible since none of his other abilities are particularly suited to the role. Event Horizon achieves this by virtue of its unmatched playmaking and teamfight defining potential when used properly. When you press E, you spawn a large circular cage at your cursor. If an enemy touches the edge, they're stunned long enough to watch a bandit rob their children at gunpoint, and bring the valuables back with them all the way to San Cristobal, Mexico, watching the whole time without being able to move a muscle to stop the bandit at any point. So if the enemies touch the cage, their whole life is pretty much done for. But even if they manage to avoid the edge, as long as they're still confined to the cage, they are incredibly easy to attack due to their restricted space, and this usually allows you to hit your W for big damage. So in summary, this ability can win games on its own via bringing doom upon the enemy team, but it can also save your life if used defensively when, let's say, you're getting ganked. After all, it's hard for those dogs to hurt you when they are stuck in the kennel. Finally, we move on to one of the most infamous abilities in all of League, Veigar's R, Primordial Burst. This ability has ended many careers, and caused more people to question their sanity than even the United States of America has. It is a point-and-click weapon of mass destruction which deletes people from existence. Its base AP scaling is a meager 75%, but it increases by 1% for each percentage of health the enemy is missing at the time. As such, if they're missing, say, 50% of their health, your R's AP scaling goes all the way up to 125%. And let's be real. When you take into account the sheer amounts of AP you'll have gained throughout the game from your passive and Q, this is just obscene. Most of the time, it's just overkill, pure and simple. Not only does it annihilate their body, but it also rends their soul so badly they can't even go on to the afterlife. Anyway, after the lane phase, you want to make sure to save this point and click win button for the enemy carries. In team fights, if you can get this bad boy off onto the enemy ADC or mid laner, you usually win the fight. Although if you can't get to them, you're free to use it to kill another target as long as you'll be safe after having done so. So that's all of Veigar's abilities. If these are not the sign of a gentleman, I don't know what is. Tune in tomorrow where we'll put all these powerful tools together, and craft the ultimate easy-to-follow game plan. Trust me, once you're able to chain all this stuff together into a successful formula, no other champion will make you feel so powerful and filled with swag as the noble Veigar will. Thank you for watching, my pigeons. See you next time.